talked about median is the middle number. We use a capital M to represent the median. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do when you choose the median is to arrange your data in ascending order, so from smallest to largest. And then you determine how many observations you have, because if it's an odd number of observations, then the middle number is the middle number. And if it's an even number of observations, then the middle number is the two middle numbers added together and divided by 2, so the average of the two middle numbers. Okay, so here's an example. If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the middle number is 3, right? Because I have an odd number of values. If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, then there are two middle numbers. So I add together those two middle numbers and divide by 2, so the median would be 2.5. Okay? So the median does not have to be one of the observations. All right, so here are steps that you can use if you want to. That it comes in handy when you have large sample sizes. When I only had 4 and 5 in my sample, it was pretty easy to see the middle number, right? But if I have 50 or 500 in my sample, then it's a lot harder to figure out what the middle number is. So that's when you would use this formula, okay? So if it's an odd number of observations, then you're going to take your number of observations, add 1 to it, and divide by 2, okay? So let's say I have 501 observations, okay? 501 plus 1 is 502. Divided by 2 is going to be 251. Okay, so it would be, once you put your numbers in ascending order from smallest to largest, it would be the 251st value. That would be your median. Okay? All right, so if you have an even number of observations, you just take, so if I have 500 observations, I take 500 divided by 2 is 250. And then I take 500 divided by 2 is 250 plus 1, so 251. So I take the 250th and the 251st observations, add them together, and divide by 2. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, so let's look at the example using the same data set of the travel times of the 7 employees of this startup web company. So how many observations are there? 7. So it's an odd number of observations. So the first thing you want to do is put them in order. Okay? So since we put them in our calculator, so go to Stat, Edit, and there are the values in our calculator. If we want to put them in order, you can go to Stat and then go down to Sort, the second one, and then tell it which list you want it to sort. So second L1, close parentheses, done. So it just tells you it's done. In order to see it, go back to Stat, Edit, and there are the same values, but it puts them in order. Okay? So the first step is to get them in order. Then, because we know there is an odd number of observations, it's going to be the middle number of the odd number of observations, right? But just using this formula, 7 plus 1 divided by 2. So 7 plus 1 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So it's the fourth value, 1, 2, 3, 4, when you write them in ascending order. Any questions on that? All right, so that's how you find it if it's an odd number. So let's say they hired a new employee, okay? So the new employee travels 70 minutes to work. Okay, so now we have 8 data points. So again, you're going to put them in order. So we already have the first 7 in there. So if you want to add another data point, just go to Stat, Edit, clear. We're already in the list, so once you're in the list, you just go down to the bottom of it until there's a blank, and then put in the next value, which is 70. Okay? All right, so that gives you And the 70 is the largest one, so they're already in order in there, right? Okay, so since there are 8 observations, you're going to take 8 plus 1 and divide it by 2. So that gives you 4.5. So the median is going to be between the 4th number and the 5th number, right? It's the 4.5 number. So that means you have to take the 4th number and 5th number and add them together and divide by 2. So 23 plus 26 and then divide by 2. So 23 plus 26 is 49 divided by 2 is 24.5. Okay? Any questions on how to find the median? Okay, also, look back at, so we have all that data in list 1. Then you go to Stat, Calc, 1 var stats again, and then put second list 1 to tell it which list we want the statistics for. And so remember that gives me X bar. It gives me the sum of the X's, sum of the X values, sum of the X values squared. It gives me, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, the third number from the bottom is MED. That's the median, 24.5. Okay? Any questions on that? So again, be able to do it by hand, but you can also use your calculator for it. But if I tell you to do it using the formula or whatever, then you need to be able to do that. Okay?